Hey guys, welcome back to Riding the Pine, and this show is proudly presented to you by JPM, our lovely partners here. There's nothing big or small that they can't make for you in your house and home. You're just limited by your imagination. Well, on today's episode, I am joined with our lovely co-host, Rob. Rob, how are you, mate?
I'm good, Tex. How are you?
I'm good, mate. So, guys, this episode in this series, we're actually travelled now down from Tamworth, and we'll be coming to the Country Champs down here in the Illawarra. Now, I thought I'd grab the coaches and get a bit of a warm welcome to the Illawarra. So, Rob, if you just want to introduce yourself to the crowd.
Yeah, of course. Rob Cauduro. So I'm the coach of the under-16s Illawarra side for the upcoming country tournament. It's my first time coaching at the junior championship, so I'm very excited for what's to come. Looking forward to a great tournament next weekend.
Definitely, and as you should be, because obviously this is a great region for a lot of baseball. This is where I personally grew up.
Yep.
We're here at Eagle Field behind us.
Yep.
Now there is I lost count. Is there like 10, 15 fields down here? It's it's a massive place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously the opportunity to play on the main field behind us. Yeah, as we look out sort of to the escarpment, you sort of see, like you said, the 10 fields. I remember as a kid playing sort of all the way down near the netball fields over there, and then behind us here as a senior. So yeah, it's been obviously grew up here as well. Childhood from under sixes, under eights, all the way up to now as a 34-year-old still playing. So
that's young. That's young. I'm telling you, the people that are coming on my show, they're making me feel old, right?
Yeah.
But look, a bit more background about yourself in terms of besides the coaching, are you playing and so who are you playing for yourself?
Yep. So I've been a Wollongong Cardinals member all my life. I was actually fortunate just to be inducted as a life member last year. So
that's great.
Yeah. So it was great. Absolutely. Bawled my eyes out. I didn't even cry at my wedding, but I cried at that. So
that's understandable. And even my missus will hate it, but she'd be like, "Yeah, look, baseball has a part in our heart that just we can't give it away to anyone else, right?"
Yeah, a lot of memories here. I mean, you probably remember yourself texting, back close to the creek, those little games, the little fruit flies and everything else getting bitten during the summer and how hot it was down here. And, but yeah, now playing obviously throughout winter as a senior. I'm president and head coach of my club at the moment. So, things are looking well. Juniors that have been coming up the last few years into senior baseball, which is something we'll talk about today, obviously.
Definitely.
So yeah, just really proud the way Illawarra baseball is going. So yeah.
Definitely. No, I definitely grew up on that sort of creaky field. Under sixes is where I first started, and I think I look back on that 30 years ago when I was first starting, and it was a simple conversation at a primary school. I had a very close friend whose dad ran at the time the Wollongong Wolves. A very old club now, kind of unfortunately not existent, but making that connection through your school buddies. You just want to come, just play around, and then next minute, 30 years later, I'm still here.
Oh,
right?
Mate,
it's the type of game where you just keep doing it, and then whether if you can't play, you turn to coaching. It might be an umpiring, might be sort of scoring, whatever it is. That's the good thing about baseball, that there's so many roles outside of the playing days that just there's no need to give it away.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, you make a connection somewhere. My godfather actually got me in to baseball. Funnily enough, he played for the Eagles, Berkeley Eagles. Okay. And he told my dad, "Oh yeah, baseball, T-ball, so I'm rolled up for T-ball." And my dad's just like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that." And he took us, we lived in Cauduro Heights, so the closest club then was West Illawarra Cardinals, which is what we were. And then he goes, "What the hell are you doing that for? Like they're our enemies." So, and he tried for years to convince me to come over, and we fortunate enough to play against each other, like back in third grade and things like that. But that was my sort of love, and I just grew in love with the game, and still am in love with it. So
that's great to hear, Rob. And so obviously, what made you get into the coaching side of it? I mean, you're still playing, so you're kind of wearing a few hats at the moment. So where did that path end?
I mean, I think naturally I always felt like I wanted to help people. Even as a player, I felt like, I guess, a mentor, sort of senior leader amongst the team. And I felt like I was always, giving some advice, whether to a teammate or somebody else. And I just sort of, I don't know, I came down, I was watching, I did a bit of umpiring, and I just would talk to some kids and be like, "Listen, this," and it was really gravitating towards me. So I think when I was maybe 18, 19, I was like an assistant coach for an under 14s team. And I just loved it. I loved that the kids really listened to me. I felt like, because I mean, close in age, I guess, in that perspective. But I wasn't this adult sort of screaming at them, telling them what to do. I was someone who, you know, they could relate to as someone who's just played, you know, 4 years before I was their age, right? So they were listening to me. I felt like I was getting good connections with a lot of them, and I just stayed on board, and I ended up being a head coach. Obviously, I got older and older, still doing sort of under 14, 16s, and then I wanted to transition into coaching men. Because same thing, like there's men and seniors and women as well that join and play the game, and you still want to give those lessons. You still want to, you know, help them be better, help them enjoy the game. So I think all the way from a kid all the way to senior, it's still the same sort of mentality that you know, I try to teach. Obviously the skill level's different, but I think, you know, having fun, enjoying the game, you know, being a good teammate, they're the philosophies I like to
Oh, definitely. I mean, obviously, I think, you know, coaching comes with a bit of a reward feeling of, you know, offboarding your experience that you've gone through. Again, you said, you know, when there's less of an age gap, you know, you're not a parent, you kind of come across as like a bigger sibling. And it's like, hey, you know, you don't have to follow exactly my footsteps, but these are the things that I've gone through. You know, you're going to go through them, right? The teething pains of, you know, going 12 to 14 to 16, and then, you know, what's in it for me long term,
for sure,
you know. So no, that's great. I don't think we have enough coaching in all the region. So it's really great that you've made the sort of the transition on almost a more permanent basis, because, you know, you've been doing it for some time. It's not your first time coaching, but definitely at the representative level, it's even better, because, you know, every region should have as many higher tiered accreditation coaches as possible.
Absolutely.
So what level is your accreditation?
So I'm a level C, well, pending, because we did it a few weeks ago and we're waiting on the results. So I think everything's all good there. But we're actually, speaking of coaches, we're fortunate we're at a location where they're doing a level B course now, which is really good. You know, having someone come down to the Illawarra region, such a big association, like, you know, it is hard to go up to Sydney, you know, for a full day, and even 2 days for the level C. So we were very lucky and fortunate that we got to do them in the Illawarra. We got a decent amount of people come, and we've got some people here today. So yeah, definitely, you know, anyone who's even semi-interested in helping out, assisting, like this teaching comes a long way. We got a lot out of both courses, B and C. And obviously there's the online component with the new sort of USA coaching accreditation now. So yeah, we're getting, I think, more aligned with the professionalism of the sport, which is obviously in America where it's tier 1. So yeah.
I mean, obviously there's offboarding experience. And then there's sort of the people skills. A bit like in our real life, where we have people who are excellent at their hands-on their jobs, and then they get promoted, and they may not have those people skills to kind of, you know, but, and coaching is exactly the same way, right? Like you have to find different ways, unique ways to get through to all of the kids. Hey, you know, you may not be understanding a pitching drill, a running drill, hitting drill, but how have you found the 16s group in terms of being receptive towards the way you're coaching?
Yeah, really good actually. I think they get to an age around 15, 16 where they're starting to mature a lot more. They're probably their skills and more specifically their bodies are growing. So they need to learn that, you know, they're going to get taller, stronger, faster. You know, like that stuff is all adapting as they go. You know, their voices are changing too. You know, there's a lot of things that are happening as a young male, young female. So in this space, I'm trying to teach little things that I think that can help them exceed to the next level. I know like a bunch of these guys have, you know, probably 4 or 5 coaches throughout the week tell them something different.
That's right.
I'm just trying to, you know, give them something else and just listen, get them to listen, sorry. But main important thing is that they're enjoying it. At the same time, they are creating a new relationship with a new team. Some people haven't played together. They're introducing themselves to somebody else.
Because I spoke about this on a few of my other episodes. Team chemistry, it's a huge thing.
For sure.
Like you have your local team, whether it's a Card, a Pirate, Chiefs, whatnot. But then when you fill into an Illawarra rep team, you know, you may not play that same position you played at your local club, right?
Absolutely.
And it's not so much about sort of, oh, the spotlight's not on me anymore. It's about like, how do I fit nicely into the piece of the puzzle to make our team, put the best team out there, right? I also imagine kids that are growing up, you know, they want to excel as fast as they can, and they might rush through life, right?
Absolutely.
So, you know, as you said, they're adjusting to their new bodies, and you know, they're, you know, they want to throw 100 miles an hour. They want to throw, you know, a million Ks away, but they will eventually, right?
Absolutely.
So is there anything in particular that you stop them or help them learn that rushing to slow down kind of pace?
I think one main thing, even just like when you're doing a simple infield outfield drill, is like outfield especially. Like I know you've got an arm that can throw it from center field to home.
Yep.
Hit the cutoff. You
That's
know
so
what I mean? Like
important,
it's
right?
just like
Yeah.
my coaches used to make us do push-ups if we didn't, you know, things like that. And I'm not that type of coach anymore. But you know, I'm
You have the cane. You have the
yeah.
cane.
I'm definitely emphasizing. I think the basics. I always, mate, even with my senior teams, I say basic baseball. Like let's focus on the fundamentals first. Okay, let's do that. Yes, I know you can probably host somebody at home, but ultimately, like we got to do the basics right. The next time, again, you're saying adapting to the team. Next time, you're probably not going to have an outfielder that can host someone at home.
That's right.
Someone's going to throw it half the distance, so you got to adapt as a shortstop, a second base, hitting it, you know, going to the right distance, and same as in pitching. You know, someone throws 80, someone throws 60. You know, we need to make adjustments. We need to know where we're switched on every time. I always say, you know, yes, it's a 2-hour game most of the time. You don't have to switch on for 2 hours. You have to switch on that 5 seconds before the pitch is thrown
right.
every
That's
time.
exactly right.
That's your concentration level. So, you know, it's too hard to tell people who are 14, 15, 16 to go, hey, guys, concentrate for 2 hours. The attention span is not,
I'm not even doing that, right? But, but no, I definitely get where you're coming from because obviously the basics are from T-ball through to MLB. Okay.
For sure.
Now, obviously, kids want to showcase their talents and skills when those situations arise. You know, trying to hose a runner out at home and stuff. But you got to understand, obviously, the audience at home is that baseball is sometimes that percentage play. We want to make the cuts all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you're not always going to make that 1% play. Right, because that's sort of more the advanced level. If we get the basics done right from 6s through to 18s, you're going to set a person up to really succeed in the future.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, that's a hard thing as a coach, really, to slow kids mentally down. Because as a player, you know, we have that play going in our head before that pitch is thrown. Hey, you know, get ready to field the ball. What am I going to do with it?
Yep, absolutely.
And the kids that get it, you see it like it's smooth. They're not rushing.
Definitely.
So
you know, you're not. Again, you can go back to X's and O's of like technique. You know, you do the funnel, tunnel drill, funnel drill, you know, all that stuff. But ultimately, like I want repetition. I want practice. Do the basic, like you said. I think situational baseball is very important. I even like if I'm throwing BP, I go, hey, there's runner on first and second. You got to move him over.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. All right, what are you going to do here? There's none out, first and second. What signal do you think I might put on here? And see if they put a bun on. See if they, hit the ball right side, stuff like that. So get them situational.
And to sort of harp on that, or sort of lock in, like what you're teaching there. That's exactly what we're doing in State League Sydney. Like we're doing situational plays because that's what happens in a game. Right. We don't want a guy trying to pull the ball all the time because that's where your power is. But we need to expand your ability to go the other way, help the team, right? Because let's be honest, like not every player in all the baseballs are hitting home runs, striking out every player that you can no worries. No, we all kind of play that little piece of the puzzle very well. So no, that's great to hear from a coaching perspective. So I guess coming now to the Illawarra region. Have you played in other regions up and down the eastern seaboard? Like we're talking Newcastle, Central Coast, Coffs. Like, what sort of comparisons do you see between the regions, I guess?
Haven't been fortunate enough to play. I mean, I've definitely travelled. I've been to the Tamworth Invitational, a lot of country champs as seniors and as a junior. Went to the Newcastle Association, Central Coast. I think I went to Port Macquarie a few times as well. So definitely seen the type of facilities, people that they have. I mean, in regional towns, it's very, very similar. You get these country, folk who just like are drawn to the love of a sport, and baseball does that, I think, more than anything. And you see Tamworth, 50 something teams that come every year. Oh, it's absolutely crazy. So I love that passion. I love that people get a new uniform every year. They get a new team, or they come every there's a team that comes 15 years in a row, for example. I think the association's definitely, from a growth point of view, I think we're all doing something different. Obviously, Illawarra is a massive catchment area. It's very big. In Newcastle, probably the same. The others aren't as big, but I think they're all doing the right things and they're moving in the right direction, like we all are as Country New South Wales. I think we need to sometimes get together in whether it's a delegate from each, which I think they do sometimes, like have those meetings and things like that.
Yes, indeed.
So just to provide information that maybe one association is doing something and then another one picks it up and goes, oh, that's really good. That's
what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping, that this kind of blend of meeting with different people, different fields, different regions, that, hey, like this works here, you know, maybe there's a problem in a different region. Hey, like just, I want that work together.
For sure.
Right? Because at the end of the day, baseball's the winner.
Yep, absolutely.
Kids got to have fun.
Yep.
Because obviously, it doesn't matter if you're a child, a parent, a volunteer, if you're not enjoying whatever it is in the baseball space, you're going to kind of pull away.
For sure.
Right? So we kind of just want to make that sort of, I won't say space, but I want that feeling of baseball is always going to be fun, no matter what.
Yeah.
All right, so next up, not to be biased, best field that you played on in the Illawarra.
Oh, mate, it's hard not to be biased, but I'll say Cringilla just because obviously it's my home club.
Yep.
Obviously, probably needs a touch up here and there. But I think when you play there, you definitely feel the spirit of, you know, this has been built, you know, with people's hands, and you know what I mean. Like it's very much it was a club where, you know, we had a lot of engineers and people that worked at Blue Scope. They like sourced the material for their lights and all the fans back net. It's I think it's maybe 28 years old now. And obviously, if you field a ground ball there, you know you've done the right thing because of the old Cringilla bounce. But obviously, you know, other fields around. I love actually playing at Dalton Park, like near the ocean, except when the wind's up in July. But nice and cold.
I know.
But and even down here, I think from a baseball field point of view, I think Eagle Field probably takes the cake with that. They've obviously got the full diamond of the dirt, whereas most other grounds have just the dirt on each base, where we've got the full facility here. So
and isn't that great? Like that, the fact that every club's ground is just it's just different. And you know, you're not playing on kind of a, whether, you know, if it's a cricket, it's not the same synthetic turf,
absolutely.
Right? You know, mounds are different, infields are different, and like it's just, I love that about you know. Look, speaking of Pirates, I wish we could just turn the field a little bit. We can go straight into the water, because I'm telling you, that wind is just nasty during winter.
Yes,
No, we love it all grounds down here. So next up we have so this is your first championships with the 16s? Yeah,
it is. So I from a coaching point of view, definitely. Obviously as a player, was fortunate enough to play from, you know, under 10s all the way to 18s for Illawarra. So played a few tournaments there. But yeah, as a coach, first time. I've done the senior men's B team the last probably 4 to 5 years, which has been really great. But yeah, I just thought this time, you know, I wanted to give back. I've been neglecting juniors a little bit, just focusing on our senior club.
And that's easier to do, right? Because it's a matter of where we're doing our own thing, like absolutely. Life, and then it's like, okay, look, I've reached a nice level in my baseball career, life, but I've still got love to give back.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So where I was going with this is, do you have a favorite memory? Like, if obviously coaching is still kind of relatively new in that space, but as a player, we're from a junior perspective, when you're going through 12s, 14s, what's a favorite memory that kind of sticks out for you?
Probably as a player, I think under 16s we were in Tamworth actually, country champs. Just had a great tournament. I think from under 14s it was a very similar team that we had taken to 16. So the continuity, knowing a lot of the guys, formed really good relationships with all of them. And then going into that tournament, like for me personally, like I was probably a fringe-ish player out of the best 9, but all tournament I think I hit 1,000, to be honest. Like there was this joke going around, like even at the team dinner, like, Rob, you haven't got out yet, and I was like, oh, haven't I? And then the next day, same thing, it just continued, and every time I got on base, like everyone's cheering, they knew it was going. And then I was fortunate enough to make the final 9, like for the final. And then I played out of position. I played the right field for the day, and then I batted, I think, in the 2-hole. And baseball, as it is, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. It comes back to haunt you.
It does. Murphy's Law doesn't miss.
But made a great play in right field. I remember we won the game, celebrated with the teammates. So that was from I guess a personal point of view, that was the greatest. From a coaching point of view, I think a couple of years ago, it's hard to go past. Locally, Cardinals versus Eagles. Obviously, Eagles coming off 6 straight premierships, and I was fortunate enough to coach our first grade team to a premiership, which was a bit of a drought for us over maybe 10 or so years. It was described as sort of David versus Goliath types
Of course.
outfit. These guys, Eagles, were a formidable outfit. Obviously, likes of Tim Atherton, who plays for Australia, and just their lineup in general was absolutely amazing. I was in awe of all of them, and working out all week. What do we do? Pitching changes. How do we do this? Maybe we just walk Tim every time he comes to the plate.
It's not a bad idea. Let's put it out there.
But we were just on. We in the field, no errors. We're lucky enough to have a beginning, which was enough. And it was.
Sometimes even just keeping to the basics of such a big situation and not getting overwhelmed is that's the key. Just the basics, hitting those cuts, pitching first strikes, and just look, it's crazy. Sure. Like it's great to hear that we do have those situations where you learn as a player that the situation, the momentum, it's on you, and you're like, sure. The pressure, like it's easy just to fold.
Yep, absolutely.
But very character defining from a player and a coacher to kind of be like, hey, this is what happened back then.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's not impossible.
Yeah.
And kids kind of need that sometimes to be like, hey, this matchup's bad, or no, it's not like that, man. Even if it doesn't work out, there's always something to learn from that.
Yep.
And take away and go, hey, that's a positive feature.
Yep, absolutely.
So next up we have where do kids go from, I guess, well, let's stick to the under 16s.
Yep.
So obviously we've got the country champs coming up.
Yep.
So we have some selection after 16s. What are we looking at?
So I think there's the AYC tournaments that usually come up in January. So there used to be like a country team, though, a New South Wales country team that was selected from these tournaments. I believe that's still the case.
Yep.
So, those guys, our boys will have an opportunity to put themselves on show for that selection trial. Obviously, there's things that come up during the summer, that these guys can throw themselves into. They're coming up to an age where they're starting to transition into senior ball.
Of course.
As well. So we've got a couple of guys in our team who are of age. When you're 15 years old, you can play Major League down in the Illawarra. So playing second grade, we've got actually a current first grade player in our under 16s team. So that shows the level that he's at. Yep. And then you've got guys that are playing in the minor leagues, third and fourth grade, which is great to see. They're playing with their dads. They're enjoying their baseball. Again, they get to focus on the basics. They get to have at-bats. They get to have fun. They get to pitch, catch, work on their skills and ready for this tournament. And then obviously, hopefully in 3, 4, 5 years time, they're our first graders.
Absolutely.
Like that's what we want.
Yeah.
So
let's deep dive a little bit more into that specifically. So the junior competition down here is played during the summer.
Yep.
And obviously the men's senior played during the winter.
Yep.
Right?
That's right.
So how do we make that connection outside of from an age, hey, so what do the kids do during the winter potentially who haven't reached men's?
The age, yep.
So where are they at?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like you said, they probably at the moment veer to other sports, but I think we're at a benefit where summer they're competing against cricket. So cricket's, I guess, a similar type sport where if they're choosing baseball, it's a good thing over cricket. During the winter, they're playing either soccer or football and baseball as well. So from a representative point of view, so they're not, skills wise, it's very different. So it's a different sport. I don't think they're choosing one or the other. That's like, this is my winter sport, I'm going to get my fitness up, ready to go. And then when summer comes around for juniors, I'm ready to play baseball. Obviously, we need to, in the summer, focus that they're enjoying their junior baseball, that when they get to the age of going into seniors, they're choosing baseball over football or soccer. So that's the challenge from a senior point of view, I think, because I think from a soccer point of view, they've got under 18s, under 21s, youth grade, whatever it is. Then they've got a lot of different divisions. Football, very similar. So whereas we are like, let's just go into third or fourth grade and you play against 50-year-olds, or 30-year-olds. So that's creates a bit of a challenge. Like, people know that we've lost kids that, have just had a bad experience playing against an adult.
Of course.
Like just because there's a competitive guy out there, which we don't mind, but
it's in life. There's always going to be someone bigger, better, faster, whatever it is, sport, job. Obviously, like something I went through coming through here, obviously played all the way through 16s. I started to dabble into senior baseball,
Yep.
actually with Cardinals.
Yep.
Now, but during the summer as a junior, I still wanted something, and I moved to Cronulla.
Yep.
Because obviously, sort of Sydney baseball is
Yep.
year round.
Easy. Yep. Yep.
But I didn't get lost in the metro
Yep.
system. I
Yep.
still had that sort of that country roots
Yep.
where I kept coming back
Yep.
and play for Illawarra,
Yep.
go through the country all the way through the men's, and
Yep.
then that full transition through to senior
Yep.
men's, and then
Yep.
eventually first grade.
Yep.
Now, obviously, that's what we want. That's what we kind of
Just
want.
the goal, yep.
Connection. So the men's during the winter, obviously during the summer, they can have like more of a coaching
Yes.
influence
Yep.
on the kids.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But what do a lot of, if you're not in that coaching space, where might we find the men's or women's sort of seniors during the summer?
It's a good question.
It's hard because they're completely kind of opposite seasons, aren't they?
Yeah, speaking probably from my experience, who has, like I said before, stayed away from the junior element during the summer, because I was playing cricket during the summer. I gave it up last year, but that was my summer sport, whereas baseball was my winter sport. But I'm a massive fan of the summer Sydney competition. I'd love Illawarra as a whole to, get back to the days of, I know we had the Illawarra Flame.
I was just going to say, you want to tell you a story. But like, let's talk about that because so during the summer, we have the Sydney State League, which runs obviously directly opposite Winters. Now, Illawarra did have a team called the Illawarra Flame. Now, obviously, this come through as originally a high performance program for the kids 16 and under 18, looking to basically try and get them upskilled to move into men's seniors, right? But it gave them the exposure to Sydney competition during the summer. The first grade would travel midweek up to Sydney, plus the weekend game. Now, is this something that I would personally love to see that come back, because that competition is so strong that I think it would be a good thing for kids, and even those intermediate adults that they need that competition to make them better.
Yeah, I think, definitely. I think there's, from memory, the Sydney League needs first, second, thirds, and 18s, or maybe it's just first, seconds, and 18s at the moment.
They need 4 grades, so we need that first, second, third,
so
18s.
I think that was the original battle why the team sort of disbanded. Like, listen, we've got a lot of talent that comes out of Illawarra that plays in the summer leagues. Like, I'm watching on YouTube guys that play for Cronulla, Macarthur, and of course they've got their connections with those clubs as well, and those guys might be happy staying there, but I really want them to then stay in winter, like build their skills here, like bring somebody else back from Sydney, let's compete with that winter Sydney League. Let's be stronger than they are. Like, that should be our focus moving forward. Right now we've got 4 first grade teams. Why can't we get to 6? Like, they're at 6 at the moment. Why can't we do that? So hoping in the future we start to, like, that connection starts to come back. I think it was in place a long time ago. So that's the main goal, sort of, I think, moving forward. But ultimately it starts with the juniors. Those guys have to develop. We have to get them into our competitions in senior Illawarra, and then they, progress their skills in Sydney during the summer, and then hopefully it transitions to Illawarra and they stay put, and then they're not traveling, every year, 12 months of the year up to Sydney. At least they've got 6 months of reprieve that they can come play at their local grounds, and they're playing against good competition. So that's the goal.
So backtracking a bit, I guess, in the high performance scene, obviously I realized that every region is starting to create its own hub. I need to track down Aaron Tritton.
Tritton.
So he's going to be running your Illawarra hub for the high performance.
He's actually doing the level B course right now. So
perfect. I'll track him down today. But getting to that, essentially, if that's the high performance here, why can't we just start to make that an Illawarra Flame kind of a, whether we start maybe potentially as, that could be a touring team. Right. So, I realize a whole season of summer with travel to Sydney can be pretty daunting, and it's a lot with life. But, if we potentially take a high performance team from the Illawarra, we're going to showcase our younger talent. So I guess I'll be hitting him up for that more specifically. But do you like that idea?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the more these guys can get exposure to better baseball, I think it's a good thing. Obviously, their parents, they've got to, take them up to Sydney. It's a lot easier when they get their Ps and they can start driving themselves up to Sydney. But, whilst they've got the commitment, I guess efforts at the moment. You know, they're ready, they're hungry, they're young, they want to get better, they want to improve. You know, if you want to make it somewhere in baseball, even professionally, semi-professionally, it starts probably from when you're 14. Like you need to start building your skills, your strength. Not to say you won't make it, but if you start,
it helps if you have that prior
the pathway,
the pathway, building up, having right people in the right places to give you the basics and obviously just lend an ear, lend a voice, and have a place where someone can go, hey, I'm feeling a bit either overwhelmed, and what would I do in this sort of situation? Oh, my fine. We can't. I've got to look after JPM here.
Sponsors.
Oh, wind. Oh,
very good.
Good for now. All right, you stay there. No, that's fine. That's what we need. So obviously, my next question will be: so in terms of the greater Illawarra, what do we need mostly for you guys to sort of do the right thing?
From a what things to improve, like facilities and things like that, you mean?
Yeah, resources from either a coaching, a gear, a field, a tournament. Like what's something that you feel would really benefit us,
mate? I don't know why we can't do what Tamworth do. The junior, like the June long weekend. The Illawarra has the facilities. They've got the.
There's more fields here than there is in Tamworth.
Exactly right. So I think we've definitely got the capacity to do something like that, some sort of invitational tournament, build something up. Build sponsorship, cash prizes similar to what they have, things like that. From a resources point of view, one main thing that I think all of Illawarra are crying out for is lights.
Yes.
Obviously, we're fortunate enough. We've got lights up in Cringilla, but they're only good enough for training right now. Like they're not at a game state. We've been communicating a lot with council. It's almost a $500,000 project. So you got to sort of focus on where is if Fred Finch is the area of baseball, Eagle Field is the Illawarra's home of baseball.
Yeah.
Well, let's put our focus into that.
Absolutely.
Then. Let's put some lights in. The two main fields at least. We can play some night baseball.
Well, that's what I was getting towards because obviously we spoke about the summer winter, right? So if the kids have their summer season, but obviously we've got daylight savings, plus we had lights, and the temperature stays warmer. A few night games will really kind of tickle the fancy of a few kids, and parents will be like playing under lights, and it gives them actually because baseball in Sydney in tournaments you play under lights.
Oh, for sure.
And you don't want your first experience to be playing under lights. You go blind.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it's good to have train lights, but the proper game lights, it would be perfect here.
Oh, mate, yeah. I remember playing a game in Blacktown for the men's tournament, and I was pitching in the night game, and I got up there. I wear glasses, and I could not see the catcher signals. So it's just like
they're bright.
They're bright. And I was just like, and the catcher's like doing stuff with his mitt, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, we need to look at that. And then I started looking at his fingers, and fortunate enough, we were okay by the end of it. But he was just like, I'm just going to catch it when you throw it, and I was like, okay. And but yeah, something like that. Like we try, like you said, we try and train under lights and get that exposure to it. If you ever have to play a night game up in Sydney at those tournaments, but it's not the same. And I think like even at Cringilla, we've got a park next to our field now. There's kids running around on the weekend, when it's a hot and sunny day. Like maybe let's avoid the trauma of getting hit with a baseball and let's have a night game, stuff like that. So there's some of the things I think.
Because the other thing too, growing up through baseball, there's nothing worse than having like washouts. Doesn't matter if it's summer, winter, right?
For sure.
Because the money that we put into playing a season's worth, right? I'd love to be able to play makeup games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And lights would be a solution to that
100%.
Midweek or played later, and and I just think the less baseball played, the more the community hurts.
Yep, absolutely.
So I feel like hopefully you guys can pressure council a bit hard to get something done.
Wednesday night 2-hour game or Thursday night, you shorten it up. 7 inning, whatever it is for first grade instead of 9 innings. Something like that I think is absolutely reasonable. So
wonderful.
Yep.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Rob. It was
Thank you,
great
mate.
to have you on the show and give us a bit of insight to under 16. So guys, the tournament will start next weekend on Saturday.
Yes, Saturday. Yep.
So obviously we're not a long weekend it's just a Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
So we're going to be featuring teams from Newcastle, Central Coast, Far North Coast. So obviously I'll be helping live stream the tournament through liveaussiebaseball.com. So sort of search out for that. I'll put up the links. There'll be a game changer with every team. So you can follow your favorite team, your favorite player. But look, until then, we'll tune into the next episode and just stay tuned and check out our sponsors. See you next time.
1, 2,